On July 16, 1988, Tokyo is engulfed in a massive explosion that obliterates the city, and starts World War III. In 2019, 31 years after the explosion, Tokyo gets rebuilt as Neo-Tokyo in order to recover. In a bar downtown, Shotaro is seen hanging out and showing off his customized bike. Shotaro Kaneda leads the Capsules, his Bosozoku gang, to fight against the rival gang known as the Clowns. They rampage through the city with holograms and bright colors. The police catch on to their little rampage around the city and starts chasing them. On the other side, a man is seen running away with a strange-looking kid, Takashi. He is bleeding out, but wants to protect the kid at all costs. As they walk through cars held due to protests, the man is surrounded by police who don't want the man to take Takashi anywhere. The man pushes the kid and tells him to run away and find Ryu, right before he gets blasted with a lot of gunshots. This terrifies the kid, and he screams, making the surroundings collapse. Many people witness the destruction and him vanishing from the road. Meanwhile, Kaneda's best friend, Tetsuo Shima, unknown to the other gang members, fights with the other gang, and almost crashes his motorcycle when he encounters Takashi in the middle of the road. As Tetsuo lies on the ground injured, the rest of his team catches up. They ask how he ended up so injured, to which Tetsuo points at Takashi. Kaneda tries to get a good look at the mysterious-looking kid, but soon, a lot of lights and helicopters take their attention. Takashi is a part of a group called Esper. It is a small group of supernatural beings from a secret government laboratory by a dissident underground revolutionary organization. Masuro, one of the Espers, calls on Takashi. He reminds that they cannot survive outside in normal world. Takashi is taken by the army and wounded Tetsuo is captured and hospitalized. Kaneda and his gang are arrested and taken to police for interrogation. When Kaneda and his gang are interrogated by police, they make excuses that they were visiting Kaneda's dying mother, but on their way, the gang named Clown attacked them, which caused all the mess. The police detain the boys to actually find the protesters, but they concluded the boys didn't have anything to do with the anti-government group and released them. He encounters Kei, a member of the revolutionary group. She is nervous about getting caught, so Kaneda wittily arranges her release along with his own gang. He smoothly asks her out for a tea date, which she politely refuses and goes on her way. Before leaving, she makes sure to thank him for helping her with the release. Kaneda keeps asking for her name, but she leaves without answering. Just then, an explosion occurs at the police station, which creates trouble among the executives in the government. They believe there is a mole among them. Colonel Shikishima's son receives a call from Dr. Onishi, who has discovered that Tetsuo possesses psychic capabilities similar to Akira, a young Esper who caused Tokyo's destruction 31 years earlier. The doctor is amazed at the development speed, which he guesses may have begun during the shock of contact with Takashi. He thinks Tetsuo must be studied further, and hopes to use Tetsuo's psychic pattern to solve Akira's immense growth and power. The doctor proposes to start with Capsule 7, to which Colonel Shikishima says he can handle it if Tetsuo turns into Akira. Colonel says that they must find the secrets, and if it becomes too much to handle, they should terminate Tetsuo at once. Kyoko, another Esper, has visions of Neo-Tokyo's destruction, and the colonel reminds Onishi to kill Tetsuo if he thinks the power may get out of control. Tetsuo flees from the hospital by pretending sick, and meets up with his girlfriend, Kaori. Tetsuo explains to Kaori what has happened to him during the last few days, and says that he wants to go far away from all these. They steal Kaneda's motorcycle, and Kaneda is surprised to see Tetsuo. When Tetsuo and Kaori are violently confronted by the clowns, they harass and violate Kaori while punishing Tetsuo for the other night. Kaneda and the Capsules hears the news and save them both. Tetsuo is upset because he couldn't handle it all by himself and suddenly starts to feel sick. His head hurts and he begins to suffer a psychic migraine. Dr. Onishi sends his staff and has Tetsuo sedated and taken back to the hospital, after conveniently finding him during his episode. Tetsuo is taken in front of Kaneda and others without any explanation, which worries Kaneda a lot. While Kaneda and others are hanging out, a blast catches Kaneda's attention and he sees Kei fleeing with a man called Ryu from police. Once again, saving Kei from being taken after a guerrilla attack, Kaneda and Tetsuo runs away. On the other side, Kyoko, another Esper, explains to Colonel her dream of another destruction, where they meet Akira again. She warns about letting the boy, indicating at Tetsuo, be free and alive. But before she could finish, She falls into another deep sleep. Colonel is heading towards the laboratory where Tetsuo is kept, and checks on the updates on a machine that is kept below freezing temperature. Meanwhile, Kaneda is led to the rebels' headquarters and is captured by Ryu, who is not sure about his identity. They talk about a new subject, Tetsuo, who has similar powers as Akira, when they find Kaneda eavesdropping. As they listen to his part of the story, they learn he was a friend of the new subject. They are planning to kidnap and lets Kaneda to cooperate with them. The people seem to refer to Akira as a lord with powers to lead people to salvation. In the Supreme Executive Council, the powerful men who control Neo-Japan argue whether Akira was a threat to mankind or not. They agree on the fact that Akira didn't initiate the war, which enrages Colonel. In the laboratory, Tetsuo is constantly having massive headaches and starts seeing weird things that soon turn into nightmares. He crushes his door and steps out with bloody foot. A doctor runs to his aid, but Tetsuo is in his own semi-reality that only keeps turning worse. It turns out, Takashi, Kyoko and Masaru were trying to kill Tetsuo. Tetsuo starts a destructive search for the Espers and soon find their hideout. After the unsuccessful attempt to kill Tetsuo, Tetsuo eventually goes on a violent rampage through the hospital, intent on killing all the Espers. Tetsuo, who recently learned about his powers, is not hesitating to kill them all. With no other way, Kyoko possesses K-body and leads Kaneda to Tetsuo. While trying to kidnap Tetsuo, Ryu's group of revolts are encountered by the security. K and Kaneda are detained, but Kyoko, using K as a medium, explains that Tetsuo must be stopped, and facilitates the youth's escape before taking the girl away to fight Tetsuo. Tetsuo confronts the three Espers about the reason to kill him, to which Kyoko says that Tetsuo will awaken Akira and destroy the world. Tetsuo learns about Akira's existence and realizes that Akira was the one that was messing with his head. He demands to know where Akira is, and, in the process, destroys the whole place. Kaneda tries to calm Tetsuo, but Tetsuo laughs at his fate, and says from now on, he has possessed immense power and won't need Kaneda's help or protection. This starts a spark of argument between the two friends, which leads to Kaneda being thrown away by Tetsuo, who doesn't seem to care about friendship anymore. Tetsuo finds out that Akira is in the Olympic Stadium, and he flies there, amazed at his own power. Desperate to find Tetsuo, the colonel places Neo Tokyo under martial law. Tetsuo goes to their regular bar downtown and demands for capsules for free, but when the owner refuses, he fatally harms him and destroys the place. When Yamagata and one other of his friend tries to confront Tetsuo, Yamagata is brutally wiped out with his energy. Kyoko explains to Kaneda that Akira is within everyone, and once their power is awakened, the individuals decide on how to use the power. Akira then proceeds to destroy the city as he makes his way to the stadium, brutally dispatching the military forces, who attempt to stand in his way. Upon learning of Yamagata's death from his friend Kai, Kaneda follows Tetsuo to the stadium, seeking revenge. When Tetsuo arrives at Akira's cryogenic containment unit, he meets Kei possessed by Kyoko, who tries to stop him. She reminds him that Tetsuo won't be able to control his desires and powers soon, and a battle between them breaks out. Tetsuo defeats Kei, and exhumes the Akira vault from the ground, but discovers all that is left of Akira are glass canisters filled with his remains, his body having been subjected to numerous scientific experiments. Kaneda confronts and unsuccessfully tries to defeat Tetsuo with an experimental laser rifle, while the colonel uses an orbital laser that severs Tetsuo's right arm. Tetsuo pulls the orbital weapon into the atmosphere and synthesizes an artificial arm from the remains while studying Akira's organs. When Kaori arrives, Tetsuo's psychokinetic powers have begun to cause him immense pain. The colonel explains that the Esper's migraine-controlling drugs, administered to Tetsuo, are to stunt the evolution of uncontrollable abilities. Despite the colonel's pleas for Tetsuo to return to the hospital, Tetsuo nearly kills the colonel, but Kaneda confronts him. Kaori finds Tetsuo and brings him out of the hole. His hand is getting out of control and he scares Kaori with his deformed hand. Kaneda comes with his bike and laser gun, and fights with Tetsuo when the Espers protect him. Unable to control his powers, Tetsuo's body begins to mutate into a giant mass, engulfing Kaneda and crushing Kaori to death. Kaneda shoots his laser gun and frees himself, as the body deforms out of control, and engulfs Colonel and the Espers. Awaken Akira, who had merely grown beyond the requirement of a coherent biological form, manifesting himself from the canisters. Akira reunites with his friends, Akira uses his psychic powers to create a blinding ball of light that engulfs the city, which he uses to contain Tetsuo. As Akira confronts Tetsuo, the Espers hurry to teleport the colonel to safety and, over Masaru and Kyoko's objections, Takashi jumps into the light to rescue Kaneda. The other Espers join Takashi, deciding that it will take all three of them to save Kaneda. Aware they likely will not be able to return, Kaneda experiences Tetsuo's and the Espers' childhood memories, including how much Tetsuo trusted Kaneda as a friend and how the children were first studied before Tokyo's destruction. The Espers remove Kaneda from the destruction and tell him that Akira will be taking Tetsuo to safety. Kyoko implies that Kei is beginning to develop her own psychic powers, and this is confirmed when Kei calls Kaneda out telepathically. Akira's psychic power destroys most of Neo-Tokyo, and after disappearing, leaves a void that is quickly filled by the ocean. Dr. Onishi is killed when his research laboratory is crushed. Kaneda awakens to discover that Kei and Kai have survived, and they drive away into the city after absorbing Tetsuo's power orb. The colonel walks out of the tunnel that the Espers teleported him to, and watches the sun rising over the destroyed city. Tetsuo comes into full control of his powers as Akira transports his spirit into the universe, uttering the words, "I am Tetsuo," before the credits roll. If you enjoyed this recap, check out the next episode. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more anime recaps, turn on the bell notification for future uploads and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.